Hello, logic up people. People like to use logic, use their brain to figure things out. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very, very peculiar, interesting phenomenon that I have experienced since 2016, or at least that's when I started to notice it. This is going to blow your mind. And we talked about in previous videos about modern science being the science of materialism, which does not explain a lot of the phenomenon of nature. Well, one of the things that modern science cannot explain is the phenomenon called synchronicity. Okay, synchronicity is a term coined by the Swiss scientist named Carl Jung. Okay, and he studied it, and he coined that term. In fact, the word synchronicity is also a title of a rock song by the rock band The Police back in the 1980s called Synchronicity. Okay, and there's also Synchronicity 2, the follow-up song to that. And if you read the lyrics to the original song, it's pretty cool because they talk about the phenomenon and what it's all about. And but of course, the song doesn't explain why it is the way it is. But basically, what is synchronicity? Okay, let me tell you what I experienced since 2016, so that you get a picture of what synchronicity is. It's eerie, actually. It's kind of spooky, you know. Beginning around 2016, I noticed that I experienced a lot of repeated stuff. For example, I started noticing one day that I was driving along, kind of enjoyed the afternoon, and then all of a sudden I thought about a song that I haven't heard in a long time, an old song I haven't heard in a long time, and immediately that song started to play on the radio. At first I thought, kind of funny, I kind of laughed it off, I'm like, hey, that's interesting. Then soon after that I started to notice things like I'd be talking to my wife or to my kids, and then I was saying a phrase and the exact same thing was repeated on TV, when we have the TV on the radio, or on the internet. The same exact phrase, right soon after I say it. Then I told my wife about it, and then we started noticing more and more, like, when we were walking to lunch together at this outdoor mall, and we just happened to pass this restaurant. And I would, talk to my wife, and, I would say something, a phrase, and then somebody in the restaurant, he's sitting outside, say the same exact phrase right after I say it, They're just talking, with each other, They say the exact phrase, right after I said it. And it happens very, very often. And then I started noticing other synchronicities, events, such as, and a lot of people experience this, and you could maybe chalk it up as coincidence. For example, every time you look at a clock, you see repeated numbers like 11:11, or 1:11, or 3:33, things like that, which could be explained by your mind. You're always concerned, or you're always hungry, or you're always thirsty at a certain hour, right? So lunchtime, for example. So then, of course, around that time, your internal biological clock will cause you to look at the clock. So therefore, you see 1:11, right? Or 11:11. It's lunchtime, right? Your stomach starts growling, okay? So that could be explained as that, all right? Now, okay, if that's the case, then that's not something that, to be interested in. It's not peculiar. It's just the way, But there are other incidences. I give you an example that will blow your mind. Okay, blow your mind. All right. And this incident proves that synchronicity is a real phenomenon. This is not something that I attribute to. It's just coincidence, and I just make it up. Try to make it interesting or whatever. Okay, here it is. One time, my wife and I went to Costco. Okay, and we had a lot of things to buy. So we took two different carts. So so I told my wife, I said, why don't you buy uh, food stuff, groceries, and I would buy things that are not grocery items. They're like light bulbs or whatever else. Um, you know, little tables or computers or whatever. And then when we're done, we just check out at the same time. Then we go on our way. So, she went on her way and, put in whatever grocery we needed, and I put in whatever non-grocery items I thought we needed. I didn't keep track of any, and neither did she. After we're done, we started to check out. And after we're done paying for it, we look at our 2 receipts, and guess what? The total amount is the exact same. The only difference is the cents. I think it came out to be like $217 and some cents. Mine says $217.58. Hers said $217.78 or something like that. Okay, so it's down to the dollar. It's accurate down to the dollar. Okay, how could that be? How could that be? Well, you might say, "Wow, that's coincidence." Okay, fine. A coincidence, fine. Very curious coincidence, but okay, coincidence. Another time, a few months later, she and I went, to lunch. Right, the kids are in school. So we decided to go to lunch together. We go to a restaurant and, order food, whatever. And after we're done with lunch, we pay for it. We put the receipt in my pocket, and, so that we can do the finances. In the afternoon, after we pick up the kids, we say, hey, we're too lazy to cook. Let's just take them out to a restaurant. We took them out to a different restaurant now, a different restaurant. They order different items, right? Different food, okay? When they're done, the bill comes out to be the exact same amount as our lunch bill earlier in the day. How could that be? How could that be? Okay? And like I said before, if that is the only thing that happened, every once in 10 years or so, a few years, then we can chalk it up as a coincidence. But these synchronicity events happen every day almost, actually. Every single day. Repeated phrases. That's every single day it happened. Ever since 2016. Okay? And the matching up of the receipt numbers every so often. Not only that, here's another thing too. We go to a restaurant or to a grocery store, whatever, buy things. We get the receipt, and the total comes out to be the exact number, like $20 even, $40 even. $200 even with the tax and everything. We don't go around and coordinate all that in order for the total to come out to be the exact number, whole number. We don't do that. But yet it came out that way. So that begs the question, that do we live in a physical reality? And the answer is no, we can't. Because if we live in a physical reality, that can't happen, could it? Can't happen that often. Okay, if it happens once in a long time, then you can say it's coincidence. It's not coincidence. It was deliberately, somehow, coordinated to be that way. And what would be the message behind that? I don't know. But it seems to coincide with... The reason why it started in 2016 was because when I retired from the Air Force in 2010, I had a lot of time to start reading up on the nature of reality. A friend of mine introduced me to the law of attraction and the physics behind all that. So I read up on a lot of that just to find out, because I have a scientific mind, I'm very curious. I don't believe in anything without evidence. And the weirder things were to me back then, the less I believe it, But as I get older, I started to ask questions and look at the evidence. And indeed, we live in a very peculiar universe. So then, ever since then, I started to experience synchronicities, And I remember one time back in, I think it was 2017, 2018, I wrote a comment in one of Tom Campbell's, the physicist Tom Campbell's vlog. And he actually answered me, which I was very surprised he did. I asked him about synchronicity. I said, what does that mean? And he said, well, it's probably because Tom Campbell is not only a physicist, but he's a researcher on consciousness. Okay, he spent the last 30 years studying human consciousness. So then he said, synchronicity is a way for the universe, or what he calls the larger consciousness system, to tell you to pay attention to your environment, because and it happened for years now, right? Since 2016, it's now 2022, and a few good things have happened, which is the subject of another video. So to me, it was an indication, it was a premonition of what's going to happen, but also good things happen, going to happen. But I think it's also a way for the universe, or the unified field, or the larger consciousness system, to let me know that it is in control. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to, it's not random. My life is not random. The existence itself is not random. It's a deliberate, organized, coordinated effort for events to happen, just precisely the way, and the timing and all that stuff. Because think about the timing, the minute timing required to make those synchronicities come true, right? For the synchronicities to occur. Somehow it coordinates so that the two receipts from Costco on two different carts with two different sets of items come out to be the same, right? Down to the dollar, okay? It takes coordination to make sure that once I say a phrase, the exact same phrase is said right soon after I said it, either by TV, by the internet, the video, YouTube, or live people, sitting there. I just happen to walk by. How could that be? How could that be coincidence? It's not coincidence, especially when it happens so many times, you see. If it happens once in a long time, then I can say, well, it's just coincidence, okay? Even though it's pretty peculiar coincidence, because how can a whole phrase be repeated right after I said it? The whole phrase, not just one word, right? The chances are very slim, but it happens often, every single day almost, right? So no, there's a message of some sort, I think, from the unified field, from the larger consciousness system, or if you're religious, from God, okay, that's trying to tell me something. And that is, it's trying to tell me, look, your life is not accidental, right? I can coordinate these, right? If I can coordinate that, I can coordinate the rest of your life, right? Things happen not by chance. I coordinated, this larger consciousness system of God is telling me, so trust me, basically, right? If I can coordinate all that, I can coordinate your life, okay? And what you want out of your life, okay? So with that, again, be thinking, use your brain. Let me know if you have experienced something like that, okay? Click on the like button, subscribe to my channel. I know I haven't asked anyone to do that yet because I have a new channel. But if you like the content, let me know, and click on the like button and subscribe so that I can make more contents like this. But it's very curious, it's very curious. I'm curious what you think about it. Have you experienced things like that before, and what do you think? Why do you think that is so? And give evidence for what you think. And I'm not going to accept the evidence that it's coincidental, because it can't be. It happens too often. It might be coincidental to you from your experience. If you have limited experience with synchronicities, then it could be explained by coincidence. But with me, it happens too often. Every single day since 2016. Come on, that's not coincidental. So with that, thanks again for thinking, and keep thinking.